Central Europe is creating a bridge to the east. They see Russia, the bear, is weakened and have taken the opportunity to build a bridge, including to Saudi Arabia. Watch that nation, says the Lord, for another alliance shall soon come between them and a country they have been at odds with in the past. Saudi Arabia and Central Europe shall have a huge, that's capitalized, interest in your nation going into next year. They shall attempt, all capitals, to turn the dial. However, says the Lord, a Musk, M-U-S-K, is turning many dials right now. That's capitalized.
Whoa.
Watch for the next maneuver and how he is shaken straight for war games behind the scenes. The game of risk is forming. The game of risk is forming. Battleships as well, says the Lord, shall approach Israel. They shall cross the line, and Israel shall respond, and it will put many nations on alert, as one is allured out by dark rulers to advance. However, I, the Lord thy God, am protecting Israel for this time, and what occurs shall turn things in the political arena more like a circus, says the Lord, and send the clowns and the jesters and those that snarl shall be whipped to a corner, says the Lord.
But that's a lot of riddles in there. There's a lot of riddles in that. Okay, so a must, that can't be a coincidence, or it's an obvious planned words that Elon Musk, who is one of the world influencers, I guess you would say. But you said he's turning many dials right now.
I'm going to look up what that means, because after I went back and saw it, I'm like, wait a second, that's a term. Turn the dial is a term we would recognize. Okay, so let's see. What does turn the dial mean? Okay. This phrase may mean literally to turn a physical knob, or it can also mean metaphorically to do something without much hassle, but there is no real dial in this case. So they're trying to, I take it also, when they try to turn the dial, they try to manipulate and turn things in the direction they want it to go.
Yeah. And I want to ask you the line above that before you said Musk. The sentence above it says Saudi Arabia and Central Europe shall have a huge interest in your nation. Who's it speaking to when it says your
United
nation?
States.
Okay.
Yes.
I thought so, but it didn't say that. So
United States of America.
Okay.
Because otherwise the Lord would have said, like he's speaking to me and I'm writing this. So when he says your nation, I'm taking it as United States of America. Otherwise he would have clarified and said Russia or something else.
Yeah. And in case anyone's new or don't know, if you subscribe to this right here, ElijahS.com, which is always free, we will send this out to you within a few days. Sometimes it goes out the next day.
Thank you, Mr. Steve.
You're very welcome. And then sometimes it goes out a couple of days, but we try to get that into their hands. So, okay. Anything else you want to point out about that word? War games, all kinds of stuff.
It is. Yes, the war games and then the battleship. So there's going to be an incident where I know you've got lines of international waters and lines crossing into the Israeli waters. Someone is going to break that. Someone's going to send their battleship right over that. So close, Israel has to respond, which is then going to probably change things in the political arena in their nation.
Are you, okay, can I just state the obvious or ask the obvious? Are you saying something's going to cause an outbreak of war?
Well, I don't know if it's going to be war, but we'll call it an incident.
Okay.
You know, it's kind of like, if you remember with Margaret Thatcher, she, at one point, Iranian warships had broken that international line and were in the waters of England, and they were approaching.
Okay.
And they said, what do you want us to do? And she said, sink them. She was very decisive.
I love the Iron Lady. The Iron Lady, yeah.
The Iron Lady. And so it's going to be, if I could compare it to something, reading it, something like that, where there's going to be an incident. It's going to be an international incident, meaning they're going to another country is going to break that line, go into Israeli waters to the point where they're going to come so close, Israel has to respond, which the jesters and the clowns the Lord is talking about that have been trying to distract the Jewish people and run around in that nation running their mouth, well, they're going to be sent to their corners when this happens.
Wow. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
10 times. Wow. Okay.
Now, this part is next. Thus says the Lord, do not ask for a king in your nation. Ask me for the one appointed to lead, teetering on the edge of Sauls. That's plural, says the Lord. So he's saying that the ones who are appointed to lead are teetering right now on the edge of being Sauls. There's like a little bit of a teetering going on here.
Okay.
Okay. Battling instead of David facing Goliath, facing the Philistines. So instead they're battling with each other instead of seeing what the real giant is and what the real problem is.
Okay.
Okay. Facing the pagan enemies that have blasphemed on altars and high places in your nation. 2 unaltered rams. This is hysterical the way the Lord puts this, and only he could say something like this and make it sound, so hit home like this. But he says 2 unaltered rams, says the Lord. All capitals, must listen in this hour, or they will tire themselves and the people out with more ramming than running the race, says the Lord.
Interesting. Is this, you had just been talking about Israel. Does that continue, or what is this?
This could have a double meaning, yes. So this could have to do with Israel, but also being that I have sheep. An unaltered ram is a ram that has not been castrated, meaning they have all of their parts, which gives them way more testosterone, which makes them want to fight more, because sheep have a double skull. That's why they can do this all day long and nothing happens to their heads.
Wow.
That's the imagery, everybody.
Yeah. And I'm curious if there's 2 unaltered, says the Lord, must listen in this hour. They will tire themselves. They're not going to hurt each other, but they're going to wear themselves out doing that. Yes. And the people out with more ramming and running the race.
People will tire of it too.
Yeah.
So it's not going to have the effect that either one of them thinks.